Can you hear me now? Awesome. So I'm Ben Hayak, a security researcher at TrustWave, and I want to welcome you all for coming to this session. And I'm pretty excited about this talk because you're about to learn a new web application attack vector that most of the security industry, developers, or even hackers don't know about. So if you're looking to advance your web application knowledge, something is wrong with the presentation, just a second. That's it. Okay, sorry. So advancing your web application knowledge, boost your income through bug bounty programs, or provide your customers with a better protection, this session is exactly for you. Well, knowledge, income, and protection are the three objectives that I hope you will take back with today from this session. When speaking about knowledge, if you do want to advance your knowledge, you have to challenge yourselves. Well, that's exactly what I did. A few years ago, back when I was a security consultant, I came across this very interesting bug that kept on showing in many different web applications. Well, at first, this bug seemed pretty useless. But when I managed to successfully exploit this bug, I figured out it is a very critical one. So I decided to name it, and I called it Same Origin Method Execution, or in short, SOM. In the meantime, I found out about bug bounty programs. And for me, it was like, okay, you can hack Google, Facebook, PayPal, and others without breaking the law. And that's great because you get a pretty good payment for your findings. So I was reporting bugs to these huge companies and got my name, their reward, and payments for my great findings. Well, to be honest with you, my personal favorite hacking target is Google. And not too long ago, when I was looking for bugs in Google, I found this very exact same bug, same origin, method execution in Google. So I got really excited because of the options of what I could do were enormous. And I chose to reveal the best of these options for the very first time to you guys in this session. So it appears that even the most brilliant minds fell for this vulnerability. And what I'm going to reveal today is how I utilized same origin method execution to hack all of your smartphone's private photos and videos by hacking Google's cloud. Well, I'm not sure why she's laughing because that's pretty serious. But I'm going to show you or present to you precisely how I did that in a few slides. Before we explain how I did that, let's talk about the mechanism that's supposed to block my attempts from reaching people's private photos and videos. And that's same origin policy. Well, I assume that most of you pretty much know it already, so we're going to give a real quick overview of this one. So same origin policy is enforced by your browser, and it's a mechanism to block pretty much any access from across a region to another domain or another region. And let's take an example. Well, assume you have 3 windows open on your browser. Let's say your banking website is open, your Gmail, and just another random web page. And that web page tries to access your private money, your private banking information. Same origin policy will say no to this attempt because it's coming from a different domain, a different origin. So therefore, attackers or the attacking web page, for a matter of fact, wouldn't be able to steal your money or your private emails. So same origin policy will essentially block access from across a region to the document object module, to JavaScript objects. It will restrict security over AJAX requests, and it will prevent data leakage. But what same origin policy will allow, though, is external resources such as images, styles, and scripts. And I want you to remember this one, because we are going to explain it how JSON with padding uses this. So external scripts are allowed by same origin policy. So same origin policy, to summarize same origin policy, this is what restricts security, restrict order, and prevent people from losing their private emails, medical information, and banking information, and etc. So after we talked about what failed to block my attempts of reaching people's private photos and videos, let's talk about what opened the back door for my attack. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, JSON with padding, JSON-P. So JSON-P was invented when it was invented or created to intentionally bypass same origin policy. So let's explain how it does that. But before we do, let's talk about JSON. This is a brief reminder of what JSON is. So JSON is a lightweight data exchange format that can be used to exchange data between a web application and a web server. If we used to have heavy formats, such as XML, and which you can see there are many headers there and to represent this data, now we can represent the exact same data using a more friendly format, and this can be actually parsed by JavaScript really easy. So let's take an example. This is a web server requesting data from a web application requests data from a web server. Let's say a person data. The web server responds with this JSON formatted data, and therefore the web application can easily parse this data and create a person object with a name and a credit. So this is how simple JSON is. Well, now that you remember how JSON looks like, let's talk about JSON with padding. Why do we need JSON with padding? Why would a legitimate website use JSON with padding? Well, the main reason for this is to use third-party services, to use external services, external APIs. We don't want to develop everything, right? We want to use APIs that helps us, pretty much like developers will use libraries instead of developing everything from scratch. And I said external services. And when I say external services, I mean services that are not in our origin. So JSON-P also helps us overcome same origin policy in the way that, for example, if you want to import contacts list from Yahoo, for example, from an external service, external API, you can do it with JSON with padding. So let's take an example. Let's say I am building a website, and I want to give service only to people that come from the United States. So I will give this message to people that come from the United States, and I will give no service to others. So that's arrogant. Don't really do that. But this is just a good example. Because in order to do this, I can either develop a very complex algorithms and spend many hours on developments, or I can use a service, an external service like Teleyes, and this is a real service that gives us the user's country. And as you can see, the United States is the country that the user came from. So I can use this external service, but I don't know if you notice, I marked it in red 2 times for you. There is something here that calls a callback. And this is something that JSON-P uses, so let's understand what a callback is. Well, to understand a callback, I made a very simple example. Assume you are a great manager, and you have many, many tasks to do. You have a lot of work, and you want to delegate one of your tasks to your assistant. But you want your assistant to call you back by sending you an email when he will be finished with the task. So the callback will be sending you the email, and the assistant will pretty much be the external service, like Teleyes. And therefore, you can do other stuff while your assistant is working on your task. So this is why we need callbacks. And I'll give a more specific example. This is for people that like coding. So this is how I react to people that come from the United States. I use this Telite service, and this Telite service moves satellites in the air. It does a lot of complex things. We don't really care about it. We just, as long as it gives us the user's country, that's all we want. So we use an external service. We define a function that we want to be called back, to be executed once the API returns the information, the country information, and we pass this function name as a callback to the external service, so it will know what to execute when he figures out the country. So we covered same origin policy, JSON, and JSON with padding. So I believe you now have all the background that you need to understand same origin method execution attack. So are you ready for some hacking? So do you remember this incident, the iCloud incident? Well, this made celebrities' life really miserable because naked photos were leaked. Because I'm going to show you a quick video of an example of what happened.
Heard, but Amber Heard is the latest victim of the ongoing celebrity nude photo scandal, and more than 50 private photos of her have made their way online. Word is, this latest batch featuring the 28-year-old actress may be the biggest invasion of privacy since Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Upton were first hacked, and yep, the FBI is still involved.
So when nude celebrity photos are leaked, they call it the biggest invasion of privacy. But I ask myself, what about other users? What about other devices? Not the iPhone. People that use Androids and other stuff, or people that didn't use the iCloud. So to answer this, I was using this exact phone to take some really embarrassing selfies of myself, and I happen to have Google Plus installed on this device. But what I didn't know is that Google Plus can automatically back up all of my private photos and videos and store them on a private album on the internet. So this is what Google say about this service. So they say that your automatically backed up photos are private unless you choose to share them. And with the successful same origin method execution attack that I'm presenting today, you can choose to share them on the user's behalf. So it's about time you watch a full exploit of some on Google's cloud. But I'm warning you, this is not going to be really informative, as attackers can hide some exploits really, really well. So I want you to take a look really carefully and see if you can notice anything suspicious. So your friend posted a link on Facebook. Clicking on this link will open up a funny video. Well, that's it. That's the exploit. Did anyone notice anything suspicious? Anything at all? Well, what if I told you that all of your private photos from your smartphones and videos, by the way, were actually stolen by some exploit and were sent to the attacker's website? Would you believe that? Well, I warned you it's not going to be really informative, so I prepared another version of the video, a more obvious version of the video, where you can see what actually happens behind the scenes. So let's watch what happens on the attacker's website. Let's start by seeing this website, and it's completely empty in the beginning of the attack. There's nothing there. So we're going to launch this exploit again by clicking a link on Facebook, And now you can notice windows open up and closing real fast. And you even and I even revealed a page that contains your private photos, and you can see that it was involved within the attack. Now back to the attacker's webpage. All of your private photos and videos are there. You can see a preview of the video. I could attack anyone with this exploit. And it was fixed not too long ago, so I believe me that I wanted to show you this live by taking a picture of you, but I couldn't do it because then I'll tell everyone how to hack Google. So that's not a good idea. So you saw how to steal private photos and videos like the iCloud incident, but what else can you do with this attack, with the SAM attack? Well, the most easy example to explain is to hijack clicks from users. Any button that you see, like Facebook or other buttons, can be clicked on the user's behalf. This is the easiest example to explain, actually. So imagine how embarrassing it would be to make you click the share button on this Justin Bieber's photo. And from that moment on, you are a Justin Bieber fan. So, seriously, I can make real money with this attack because I can make you buy, I can sell a pen and I can make you buy it for almost $30,000 and more. It doesn't really matter because you can just hijack the click. So imagine this if you see this message. I don't know if you're familiar with authentication, but this is a message that tells the user that an attacker would like to access his private mails, manage his contacts and Blogger account. So no one will ever accept such a request, right? But with SAM, you can click accept on the user's behalf, and from that moment on, the entire access is granted to the attacker. So to summarize SAM, SAM is like this little man sitting on your keyboard and hijacking or executing methods and clicks on your behalf. So you can pretty much do almost anything if you find a vulnerable domain. Well, you probably ask yourself by now, okay, he told me a lot of stuff that I can do, but what makes my website vulnerable? Where am I going wrong? So the thing that I believe developers should take more time or invest more time in is callbacks. Well, callbacks is the injection point for the attacker. This is where he can inject stuff into or methods within JSON-P implementations. So I'm going to explain two different implementations, two different JSON with padding implementations that you can do. Like you saw in the geolocation example, I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's first start with the JavaScript context of JSON implementation. So this is an example of Google, for example, importing contacts, your contacts list from a different mail service, from Yahoo. And they will use this data they got from your Yahoo account to build this table in some Google website. So in order to do such a thing, they will need to use a code like this. And I'm sorry because the screen is a bit cut out, but they will need to include a script tag. And they will need to use a JSON-P Yahoo's API of importing contacts. They will also need to configure a function or define a function in their website that will build the table that you've just seen in the previous slide. And they'll also pass the function name as a callback value so that Yahoo knows how to call back once they send you the contact list information. But what if they let you control this callback name? If they do let you control this name, an attacker can change it to whatever he wants and perform an attack on Google domain or any other vulnerable domain, actually. So this is what we'll get back from Yahoo's API service. If you can see the URL, I don't know if you see the URL or not, but there's a callback parameter there that says attack, and therefore they will reflect back the function name attack with the contact list. And same origin method execution, the attack that I'm presenting don't really need to control the arguments. It only needs to control the function name. So this is pretty much what happens. The attacker sends a link with a manipulated callback to the user. The user's browser will request data from a JSON-P API. In the example you've seen, it was Yahoo. The JSON-P API will know it needs to call back with that given manipulated callback value. And therefore, it will execute attack on google.com or any other vulnerable domain. So controlling the callback is a pretty serious thing. And with when I'm saying attack, it can be manipulated or changed to whatever we want as attackers. We can do clicks. We can do or submit forms, for example, or we can do any operation on the user's behalf. So this is why we have a wrong JSON-P implementation. They let you control what's getting inside the script tag. And I don't know if you see this if condition, but I'll tell you they only allow alphanumeric characters and a dot. But that's enough for the attack to work. So now talking about the HTML context. And this is even worse. This is way worse. And this is what I used. This implementation is what I used to steal the Google's Cloud photos. So here's an example of how to find some attacks or some instances. If you are a pen tester and you want to know how I did it, this is an example of detecting this flaw. So Gmail offers you to import the contact list from Yahoo. But they will know that you will need to authorize such a request. A user will need to authorize this request. It's not enough to just go to Yahoo and tell them, give me your contact list from anyone. So once the user will click accept, Yahoo will need to send the contacts data to the main window, to Gmail. But same origin policy will not allow such a thing because it's different domains, right? Yahoo and Gmail are different domains. So Gmail will need to make a special page and allow Yahoo to redirect itself to that page with the contact list data. And don't mind this example really much because this is just how to find this vulnerability. So this is how the page that Gmail will make to make this work. They will make a JSON-P endpoint or a page that executes get contacts on the main window, on Gmail, the window you saw on the left side. But you can control the callback function, and you can change that to another thing. But now we have two windows, both on Gmail, and therefore we can exchange data now, because same origin policy allows same origin transmission of data. But if we change this, as I told you, if we change this callback value to attack, for example, we are controlling what's getting executed on Gmail. So this is just how to find. Don't worry about the implementation if it's kind of complicated, but this is what they do. Okay? If you can change the callback parameter, you are executing attack on Gmail now. Because you are executing whatever method you want on that left window. So here's what's happening. An attacker, once again, sends a link with a manipulated callback to the user. And now the user will go directly to that JSON-P page that they made you for importing these contexts or any other usage. And therefore, they will execute attack right away in that page on the main window. So we can execute attack on Gmail using this wrong implementation. So here's why it is so wrong. Your callback parameter is getting inside a script tag. And they let you control. They do opener dot whatever you wrote on the URL. Once again, they only let you use alphanumeric and a dot, because this is what most of the JSON P implementations do. But that's enough to execute the attack you've seen in the demo. So implementing JSON P with JavaScript context or HTML context can go very, very wrong. So how do we exploit these instances? What you've just seen is just how they go wrong. But how do we actually exploit it? This is where it gets interesting. Some of you will right away say, OK, we control the callback. Just push special characters and execute cross-site scripting. But most of the implementations, as I told you, don't let you control anything but alphanumeric and a dot. This is what they allow you to do with the callback parameter. So to exploit this, we need to plan our actions. The attacker will need to carefully think and simulate what he wants to do on the user's behalf. And taking the demo you've seen, I'm going to tell you what I did to steal photos out of people's smartphones. So I needed to select all the photos on the user's behalf using this attack. And only once I selected all the photos together, I needed to wait for a reaction from the website and send these photos out. But I had to do 2 actions to make it work. So this is why same origin method execution is so strong, because there is a limitless actions you can do on the user's behalf. So this is how to exploit the implementation you've seen. You open a website. After you know how many actions you need to do on the user's behalf, you make a setup. And this is your website, your attacking website. The main page opens up 2 different windows, because you need to do 2 actions. Once you get the setup, you can redirect the main window to a page where there is a button that you want to click on the user's behalf, or there is a JavaScript function. Doesn't really matter. So I use the page that lets you select all the photos. And once this setup is done, we have 3 windows. One window is on Google Plus domain, and the 2 others on my website. So I cannot click this link unless I have some vulnerability in plus.google.com. So I redirect the first window by after controlling the callback and setting select all photos function, method execution. I told you that I can execute any method, so I'm executing select all. And that was some, okay? But it's not enough, because I want to also send these photos off to the attacker's website. So I redirect the second window to the same instance of this vulnerability, but this time I'm setting the callback value to send the photos out. Okay, so I made the user do 2 actions on his behalf. And now all of your photos found their way to the attacker's website, and they are publicly available on the internet. You can search them. You can search any name. I can actually also leak the name or steal the name of the Google Plus account, so you can easily detect the celebrities that you want to. Never mind. So let's talk about protections. What blocks same origin method execution? The first protection will say this is really similar to cross-site request forgery, when you sending requests on the user's behalf. We know that there are CSRF or cross-site request forgery protections But in this attack, we simulate UI clicks. We simulate real clicks. So we will keep the tokens, and we don't need them, actually. So this is not blocking this attack. What about cross-site scripting filters? Well, cross-site scripting filters won't detect this attack because we only use alphanumeric characters. We don't care about the parameters. You just care about the function that we are going to execute, like clicks. So since we use only alphanumeric characters and a dot, cross-site scripting filters won't protect against this attack. What about frame busting? Like JavaScript frame busting or even X-frame options. If we use Windows, like I explained, this is not going to block us either. What about pop-up blockers? Well, pop-up blockers is where it gets really interesting. Because you have two options here. It's either you hook a user click, and therefore you can open a window, but it requires you to make the user click something. Or you can either use a pop-up blocker that if we will have time, I'll explain or I'll show an example of such a bypass, a pop-up blocker bypass. And in the demo, you've seen a fully protected browser with all the patches and everything, and I used a pop-up blocker to do this. And content security policy. Well, this is a new feature that you probably heard about at least once. And currently, as much as I know, there are no restrictions when you're using Windows. You cannot use content security policy to block same origin method execution. So how can you protect yourselves? Well, the solutions would be never use or never let the users control your callback. In the example you saw on the demo, actually, you didn't need actually to let the people control the callback. Using a static callback value would be an amazing option for you because then the attack wouldn't take place. You can also whitelist callbacks and allow only the callbacks that you set in advance. And if you cannot whitelist callbacks or use a static function name, well, this is the third option would be the best option for you. You can register callbacks. This is a new solution. You can use JavaScript to make a global object on your page and register the callbacks that you want using this. And after registering this callbacks, you can use the API to do this, like sum __ sum, and whatever you put on the URL will get inside here. So you cannot use dots anymore, and you cannot use anything that is not registered under this sum global object. So here's the summary of this attack. You can hijack user actions without interaction at all, like you've seen in the demo. And you can follow limitless actions, limitless flows, whether they are dependent or not. I actually, the first exploit I made, and I reported to Google, was making you delete your posts on the Google+. I actually made an exploit that say, okay, go to this page. I know that there's a picture there, and I want to delete this picture on the user's behalf. But once again, only one action wasn't enough. First I used and hijacked the delete button, and then it asked me this most annoying question for a hacker. Are you sure you want to delete this photo? And this is where like I said, oh no, man, I cannot delete this photo. But with this attack, I could also set another window that were waiting for this exact message and click yes on the user's behalf. So I can follow limitless flow of actions with this attack. Another thing about this attack, it is invisible to the victim. How many of you actually noticed what happened on the first video? Anyone? Can you tell me? You guys? I see two hands. Exactly, exactly. I made the browser open to windows on the background. You can barely notice them. And even if you do notice them, even if you are the greatest hacker ever, and you do notice these pop-ups, you cannot do anything, because by the time you notice them, they're already closed and they stole all of your photos. So it is invisible to the victim, almost entirely invisible, but it's certainly too late for you to do anything. And another very interesting fact in this, and this is what I love the most. Any page on the domain becomes vulnerable. I found one example of some in Google+, but I could navigate the user to any page that I wanted. I could delete photos. I could delete his accounts. I could make him authorize applications on using authentication on Google+. Those that you use your phone to authorize. I could steal the Google Cloud photos. I could do anything, because I can navigate to any page. I can use the main page you saw earlier to navigate to any page that I want. So the entire domain is vulnerable, and it is enough to find one instance of this attack.
That's all, folks.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And now feel free to ask any questions. If someone have a question, this is the time. Thank you. Yeah. The third mitigation? Yeah, sure. He's asking me to just review the third mitigation, not this photo, but mitigations. Okay, back to the mitigation slide. Okay. Yeah. The third mitigation is it's just an option that if you don't want to deal with, you just want everything to work. Developers tend to want to not change anything in their developments, because they don't want to break anything. And this is why patches are released really late and domains stay vulnerable. So you can make a global object using JavaScript in your main web page, and you say, okay, I'm registering callbacks in a way that only if this callback value will exist in the global object, it would have a function declared, and we'll call that particular function. So that if people control the callback parameter, they cannot execute any function or any other function that these functions then these registered functions.
So the registered functions are effectively, is that a whitelist?
Yeah, it is very similar to whitelist. This is a good point. I mean, the third and the second examples are very much alike, because you can whitelist callbacks in your server side, but this is just, I offer the third solution because I'm thinking about building a library or something that can be really easy to implement using only JavaScript. So if you can, so if you implement the third option, this will be very easy to implement. And if you will do whitelist callbacks in your server or any other way, it will also work, but it will require different solutions to different servers. Okay, like Apache, PHP, development language. So this is a more general solution. Yeah. Check the referer. Whoa. Hold on. What would an attacker do if your website checked the referer? Well, it's kind of something that I need to check out. But their websites usually register, if they register the referer using the first request in the Windows, then this attack may or may not work. But this is not really a good thing to do, because you want, I mean, if you are Gmail, for example, you want to import contacts from Yahoo, then you don't really want to limit Yahoo's authorization mechanisms, because you use an external service. You don't want to affect that external service. You need to tell Yahoo. You need to tell Yahoo, or you need to give Yahoo the flexibility of choosing whatever URL that they need, and these URLs change with tokens and the APIs And therefore, if you register the referrer, then it will probably be a wrong choice for you as a developer. And it will protect against this attack, but it will be. I never seen an implementation of registering a callback. What I've seen, referrer. I've seen a registering a callback. This is something that I actually saw. I mean, they register a callback using whitelist. This is how they fix this. Google, for example, they fixed it by whitelisting. Sorry, what? Repeat it? Yeah, this is a great question. He said that we can use, this gentleman said, we can use iframes to do this attack, and this is correct. And I wrote it in the abstract also. You don't have to use Windows. I only used Windows because of headers like X-frame options or other frame busting techniques. So just because it bypasses everything, I used Windows. But you can also use frames to execute this attack. Yeah.
What about the course in, say, Google Surrender?
Like,
Well, basically not using JSON-P, but instead using XML.
like post message and HTML5 reaction. So, yeah, this is a good question. He's asking, what about course? What about HTML5 techniques? Instead of using JSON-P, you can use post message to transfer data between domains, and this is actually a better this would be a better solution to transfer data between domains, but it requires, I mean, because it requires authentication. Like if you want to import context from Yahoo, you will need the user's authentication. So you need Yahoo to build an authentication mechanism that works and supports post message or HTML5 techniques. So you have both. You have to work both ways, and not everyone support this method. And the reason this was actually vulnerable is because applications came out and authentication, like they used an easy solution, and they opened the window, and they know the window is requesting authentication access from the user. And when the user will click authorize, everything is good. Everything is easy to use, and everything is working now. So they used it because it's a very convenient way to do it. But if they implement better solutions like Chorus, it will be protected. Even though there are a lot of vulnerabilities in Chorus and that I'm currently working on, but depends how you do it. Exactly the same here. If they do it correct, there is no vulnerabilities. Be based on people's mistakes. But so, any more questions? Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's this attack that you've seen is a combination between two different vulnerabilities. The main vulnerability is SUM, which I got $3,000, around $3,000 for this attack. And the other attacks were smaller dependent attacks that required user interaction. And I got like 2,000 more for this. So in total, I got like 5. But you can check it out on the Google's vulnerability reward program. They have a clear table of which impact gives you which reward. Yeah, but I know that for a fact. I mean, not for a fact. Don't record me on this one, please. But I know that, or I guess to be more accurate, that the iCloud bridge, the iCloud people that leaked the photos got way more money. So this is our white hat life. So, any more questions? Time is over, I believe. Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming and enjoy the conference.